So first, let's be clear. Why does it matter? It matters because list building is a direct line to clients. It's a very strategic asset that fosters awareness, product promotion, and creates a direct engagement for any kind of update or survey. It is an excellent tool to stay top of mind and even an excellent tool for customer service. So it's a great engine for driving sales. And that's where now we go to enter lead magnet. So a lead magnet, it's a gated content offering in exchange for contact information. So it could be anything. It could be a white paper, an ebook, checklist, guide, webinar, masterclass, industry report, anything. The possibilities are vast, and it basically should align with your industry and your audience preference.
This is Let's Make Waves podcast. I'm your host, Rana Al-Basri Marwad, and I believe that we're all here to make waves. I created this podcast to help you build your brand by sharing with you tools, resources, and strategies to gain professional authority for better business opportunities. If you want to get unstuck, you've come to the right place. Let's get started.
If you've been following this podcast for a while, you might recall that I've done previous episodes about email list building. I've covered this topic on episode 28 and episode 31. If you haven't caught those up, I suggest for a quick rewind, just for some fundamental insights. However, today we're revisiting the list building realm, but a laser focus on lead magnets. And that is because in the business landscape, list building involves the curating roster of individuals or businesses who have clearly expressed a keen interest in your business, your offering, or even in you personally as a professional or a thought leader. So whether they are potential customers or B2B prospects, even fans and followers, the list is like gold. They often comprise of email addresses because that's an effective way of communication. Now, some businesses, they build lists via phone messaging, but I just want to be clear that email is a potent tool as much as phone number is. So I find it's a little bit more powerful, honestly, because it kind of enables a diverse content sharing, whether it's written, visual, or audio. But we have to recognize that there are cultural and market dynamics that tilt the scale towards phone numbers versus emails, even private groups versus emails. So we'll talk about that later in this episode. But in the end, this whole tool is for community building, and that's important to know. So first, let's be clear. Why does it matter? It matters because list building is a direct line to clients. It's a very strategic asset that fosters awareness, product promotion, and creates a direct engagement for any kind of update or survey. It is an excellent tool to stay top of mind and even an excellent tool for customer service. So it's a great engine for driving sales. And that's where now we go to enter lead magnet. So a lead magnet, it's a gated content offering in exchange for contact information. So it could be anything. It could be a white paper, an ebook, checklist, guide, webinar, masterclass, industry report, anything. The possibilities are vast, and it basically should align with your industry and your audience preference. So let's dive into the heart of today's topic: repurposing existing content for a lead magnet. Now, why are we specifically talking about existing content and something that you've already published? Well, because if you want to create an attractive, useful lead magnet from scratch, it's really not easy. It's very time consuming, and it requires very strong knowledge of the audience that you're addressing. However, on the other hand, if you have been consistent in your content creation and in sharing value, your existing content will start to hold valuable insight. And once we analyze the performance of that content, this is where we find the key. So, going over your existing content, you will be able to identify what topics that sparked engagement, what triggered questions. You can better understand which content elicit the most interaction. Look for the content that's been consistently sought after and adding genuine value, addressing your audience's needs. Look for that kind of content, because this could be anything, any type of content. It could be an in-depth industry article. It could be, if you're a photographer, a popular photography technique. It could be a sought after consulting coaching result. It even could be a special ingredient that is frequently requested from your recipes as a chef. All you have to do is dig into your content's performance so that you can find these gems. And this is crucial. It's a very crucial and important step, because the tools that social media platforms today, websites, blogs, all of them, they offer us something called insights, and that helps us gather this valuable data. So, what is this data used for? It helps us to understand and to know what kind of lead magnet we can create. Because by dissecting that content into small pieces, we are able to be very specific on which details have been captivating for our audience. It's easier for us to understand it and to dig deeper. And this is the process of the repurposing. You're basically developing maybe a step-by-step process or a helpful checklist or a secret recipe if you're a chef, anything that is valuable and strategic for your clients. That's where you craft a lead magnet that is not just an extension of something that you already have, but it's actually an enhancement over your original content. It promises immediate value, it provides a great base for engagement, and it shows your audience that you basically listen. It's not a shallow piece of information. The lead magnet is very valuable. Now, from there, by going through this process, basically you've created your lead magnet. It's ready. And the next step would be to create a landing page. And that's the place where you collect the contact information. And just, I quickly want to highlight that it's very important to collect the information that is relevant for you. So this is the process, the landing page, where it should not be a complicated process. It's an easy experience. It's an easy decision for the audience. Okay. So this is where we arrive at the sharing part. And this is where, once all of these steps are done, you start shouting it from the rooftops. You promote your lead magnet across all of your platforms and consistently, because this is not a one-time, a one-off gig. It is something that you have to keep on doing regularly. And I know this is uncomfortable. And some of you might say, oh my God, this is so salesy, Rana. No, it isn't, because what you're doing is you're highlighting something that is interesting and desired by your audience. And you know that because you got this information from the data that you have from their engagement and their interaction with your content. So the promotion and sharing phase is important to express why this is a good lead magnet, because it's helpful, it's insightful, and it's a deep dive. Now, let's go back on the point of the information sharing. Now, I've mentioned that in the beginning of this episode that some places or some businesses, they prefer the list building via phones versus emails. That's true. And that is because the marketing landscape in some parts of the world, for example, here in North America, for example, it's very different from another part of the world like the Middle East. So it is really important to understand the region or the market, their unique dynamics and the preference of this market. So when you're collecting the contact information, collect what is important for you and what is also right, and if it's also acceptable to the lists that could be collected based on the culture and the business nuances of your region. So this is where flexibility and the willingness to kind of adapt to the local preference becomes key. And this is where you combine a mix of different strategies that will help you build a strong and a culturally resonant presence. So as we get close to the end of this episode, I just want to recap something important about lead magnet and list building. It's important because it's a direct communication tool to any potential or even existing clients. It's an important tool because it's very cost effective from a marketing perspective. It has a high ROI in comparison to advertising, for example. A lead magnet helps to build or boost brand awareness, referrals. It strengthens the reputation of the brand. And in comparison to other marketing tools, it has a high conversion rate. It's also list building in general. It's a great place for marketing messages, for contacting the clients for polls and surveys. So I really do hope that today's episode serves as your guide to using existing content to create impeccable lead magnets. And this is a great way for building your lists, and it's a great marketing strategy. So I really hope that this episode helped you with that. Thank you so much for listening. As always, you have my contacts on the show notes. I'd love to hear from you. As always, please don't forget to subscribe, review, or share this episode with someone who might find this information valuable. Until next week, take care, stay inspired, and keep making waves.